From the artist behind Death Note and Bakuman comes a little-known series. This is Ral Grad. Released soon after the end of Death Note, Ral Grad is a very little-known manga by the same artist Takashi Obata, this time teaming up with Tsuneo Takano as the writer. In a medieval kingdom, war rages against the Shadow Beasts. Sometime before the beginning of her story, they began invading the world bent on taking it over. They appear out of the shadows of certain individuals and objects, sometimes even possessing them. And deep within the dungeon of a certain castle rests an egg-shaped prison. Inside, a young man sleeps, possessed by the shadow dragon, Grad. But when all seems lost, they decide to release this young man, Ral, as their last hope against the invading army. Having made peace with the shadow creature inside of him, Ral is actually a unique person among the possessed. Not only that, but his shadow beast, the dragon Grad, is known as one of the most powerful shadow beings in existence. Striking out on its own, Grad actually made peace with humankind, seeing the invasion of the shadow creatures as an infringement onto their land. Grad would much rather have everything be going back to the way it was, with the shadow creatures staying in their own realm. And as for Ral, his motivations for being a hero of the kingdom are a bit, well, let's just say unique. And together, Ral and Grad will team up to put an end to the invading shadows. Ral Grad is a bit of a little-known, short-run series within Shonen Jump. I believe it only released about 4 volumes before it was inevitably canceled by the magazine. That being said, knowing some of the other works that Takashi Obata has worked on, this one wasn't bad. There's a bit of an interesting character where they kind of, they go the fan service route, but they find a way to make it more funny than it is creepy in some ways. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but in some ways it works. And he has very unique, interesting, well-drawn, well-illustrated abilities. The artwork in this is top tier. It really is. The artwork is great. And only reading the first volume so far, because this one's going to be a little bit harder to find the full series of, I gotta say, was moderately entertaining. It was actually not bad. I'm worth checking out the other series, trying to find the other volumes. I'm going to be looking out for them. But this is actually kind of a bit of a hidden treasure among Shonen Jump. And if you're a bit of a fan of Takashi Obata's work in Death Note and Bakuman and Platinum End, it may be worth knowing about Ral Grad.